So Think is one of those projects that was designed for a very specific application. By the way, there's not even close to $1 billion spent on that car.
Okay.
So Ford put $150 million into it, and maybe all of the venture money that's gone into it, maybe $50 million. So my guess, low-end guess will be $200 million, high-end guess will be $300, $400 million. So
okay.
It's really half that. But it was designed, and I think it works pretty well as a European city car. It's small, it's plastic, it goes a short distance, it does everything. But when I went over there to visit them to entertain putting $2.5 million, a relatively small investment for us, to own the U.S. rights to a vehicle they would bring here,
right.
I looked at the car and I said, the reason I would not invest in Think is that I don't see it as a world car. I don't see it as a car that could go to multiple markets, and certainly not to the U.S. market. So they knew that, and they were going to develop a U.S. vehicle that long story short, we sold back because they wanted to get the U.S. rights back. They regretted that they sold the rights to the U.S. We sold it back for $2.5 million.
So you made a little money then.
And took a 2% interest in the company, in the corporate company. So we don't really have an investment in Think anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look. Let's find.
Let me just say that. So we put a lot of money in Fisker. We're in love with Fisker,
right.
And put a lot of money into another car company called Next Auto Works. It's still a company that's fairly stealthy.
Okay.
But you'll probably hear a lot more about in the next few months.
Okay, good. You'll keep me posted, I hope.
Yeah, I will.
All right, good. All right, let's talk about Neenah. Where's Neenah at this point then? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, the engineering is being done on Neenah now. We have not shown the design or the car. I've seen it, of course, many times. It is a fantastic car. I would expect that the plan is to deliver what we're now calling the N1. Neenah is the project name.
Right.
But the Karma is a K1. We have a K2 and a K3.
Okay.
And there's an N1, an N2, and an N3. So there's 6 vehicles designed. And the Neenah will probably come to market very, very late 2012, early 2013.
Okay. Now, how can you sort of say how different it is in terms from the Karma? In general terms?
It's in the eyes of the beholder. I think we're going to have a lot of the Karma DNA will be in the Neenah, but it will be it'll be a different vehicle.
Okay, still a plug-in hybrid though.
Oh, same powertrain.
Same powertrain. Okay, yeah. Good. So when will we get to see the Karma sunset? K2, K3.
So the K2 is not all that important to it. The Neenah is. The most important vehicles are Karma because it's first,
right?
Because it sets our brand. Neenah because it's the volume, so it will deliver much greater volumes, which allows us to bring our costs down.
Right.
And then the SUV, which will be a very popular car worldwide. There's 2 other vehicles which are kind of, I would call them lower volume, kind of side projects. One would be the convertible, because there's just not a big market for convertibles.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful car. I mean,
yes.
It's the Karma 2-door with the top ripped off. It is incredible, and it reminds you of kind of that Mercedes, convertible. And then we're going to do another vehicle, which is we would call it a station wagon, and Europe you'd call it a shooter's brake, I think you call it.
Right.
Shooting brake or something like that.
Shooting brake, right, yeah.
So.
Okay, so you've got those. How is the facility in Delaware coming along?
Really well. We've started work in that facility. We've hired employees in that facility. The governor of Delaware called me the other day, said it's gone very well. We're working pretty well with the unions there. It takes a long time to bring it up the way we want to bring it up. The Karma will continue to be produced in Finland until we bring that plant up, but the Neenah will be the first vehicle produced there.
Okay. Let me ask, what's the exit strategy for Kleiner Perkins on the Fisker? project?
You know, we actually don't think about exits at all. Of course, we are, you know, as a venture capital firm, we want to provide returns to our shareholders, to our limited partners. And so if we just focus on building a very large, disruptive, sustainable company, exits are then get answered for themselves. And so, you know, it's we want to make Fisker a sustainable, you know, large company that is multi-billion dollars in sales, and get it to that level. And then we'll start thinking about how we, you know, provide returns to shareholders.
Okay. I've been reading recently that the Chinese government is sort of reevaluating their policies with respect and programs with respect to electric drive vehicles and technology. And I'm wondering if you've heard of that. I know you have offices in China, and sort of what your perspective is on their reappraisal.
When you say reappraisal, from what to what?
Well, I guess they're looking at and wondering, because they've not had a lot of success with their stimulus programs and their rebates and different things to get people to, you know, take a serious interest in electrics. And so there's some, I guess, discussion taking place in China. Is this what we should be doing? Are we spending our money wisely? And I guess I'm seeing that. Are we mirroring that same thing here in the United States, or might we at some point?
Yeah, so I'm not an expert on China policy. I've been there. We do have a China business, but we're not focused on transportation that much. Fisker is going to have a couple of dealerships there, so we are going to sell Fiskers in China. But I do think we're in this kind of gray zone, and maybe call it an inflection point with electric vehicles. So there was this stage, I think the last 5 years, when we talk about electric vehicles, we talk about mostly all electric. You know, you know, I mean, you see lots of businesses being built to produce charging stations.
Right.
I think it's kind of early to, you know, I certainly wouldn't invest in any company building infrastructure or charging stations, because there's just not enough electric vehicles out there. I think the consumer has to go through a phase, a transition phase, especially if the consumer is being asked to pay a lot more money for a lot less vehicle. Okay, so I think the Chevy Volt is a great vehicle. I really do. I think it is a great technology. It is a technology that allows me to not be range impaired. So I can drive a small distance on electricity. It contains most of my commute. So I can be in an electric car most of the time, but if I need the range, I have the range. It's a fine looking car. I think it's high priced, and so I think for $40,000, although you do get a rebate on it, but for $40,000,
who knows how long for?
Yeah, you can buy a lot of car for $40,000, and so there is this phase of getting battery costs down, getting electric motor costs down. This industry, the electric vehicle industry, has to catch up in terms of getting its costs down, because the internal combustion engine power drive has had a 100-year head start.
Yeah.
You can find a very good powertrain that's based on fossil fuels for $3,000.
Yeah.
And if you're going to buy an electric powertrain today, you better be prepared for, you know, $15,000.
Considerably more. Yeah.
So we need that phase, and I think consumers need that phase to say, I don't want to buy a car where I'm paying more to get less. So I think that is an opportunity for the plug-in hybrids.
Right. Will the Nina be, you brought up the Volt, will the Nina be a strong competitor to the Volt, do you think, in that technology?
No, I think the Nina will be much more a competitor in the BMW, Volvo, small Mercedes class. So I think it will be a car that's priced in the $50,000 to $60,000 range.
Oh, okay, all right. Because I had seen talk of it being down around $39,000-$40,000 range. So
after rebates.
Oh, after rebates. Okay, good. All right, Ray. Thank you. Final question: when do I get a ride with you?
Just come out here, and I'll be happy to pick you up. So
all right. Hey, actually, I'm coming out there on the 15th. So
okay. Look me up. I'll give you a ride.
All right. Sounds great. Ray, thank you. You can go home and get some dinner now then.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Okay. Bye-bye.